Hello, and welcome to a Drafthouse Diary for Wednesday, October 1st, 2025. As I expected, I did go back to see The Life of Chuck a second time at the Alamo. I was pleased to see that it came back for a few screenings, and those screenings were accompanied by a special recorded conversation between screenwriter and director Mike Flanagan and Mark Hamill, who plays a pivotal supporting role in the movie. Once again, the movie had a tremendous impact on me, even though I already had seen the movie and I knew what was coming. My eyes did not remain dry through the end of this screening. We'll see if they do through the end of this recording. But having seen the movie before, on this viewing, I was able to pay a little more attention to its structure, which was innovative and a big part of the movie's power. The story is told in 3 acts, and those acts are presented in reverse order. So we begin with Act 3, which is a stark, supernatural, inexplicable end of the world story. It's bleak, it's sad, but thanks to the way it's presented, and thanks to the earnest and approachable performances by Chiwetel Ejiofor and Karen Gillan, it is also somehow hopeful and romantic and mysterious. It would stand on its own as a very impressive short film. Act 2, in the middle, is also brief, but it introduces a very different tone, something kind of wistful but still surprising. And that's a tone that carries through Act 1, the final act that we see. Act 2 presents us with Chuck in middle age, played by Tom Hiddleston. And Act 3, the longest part of the movie, presents us with Chuck's youth and his coming of age. Here, the supernatural is still present, but it's a mystery that's kept at arm's length. And the fact of it drives, if not the plot, definitely the feel and the characterizations. And one other element with the feel of something otherworldly is the narration, presented with an air of warm, soothing authority by Nick Offerman. The narrator is omniscient and calm and knows the past and the future of this story, and we grow to trust him as he gives us just enough so that we can appreciate what we see before us. Much of what I said after my first viewing still holds, of course. It's a story about identity. It's a story about what it means to be human. It's a story about how, as human beings, each of us contains a universe. One of our most important jobs in the course of a human life is to discover that universe, and another is to share it with others. And one of the reasons we mourn at the loss of a loved one is the sense that an entire universe has somehow slipped away from our reach. The bonus conversation between Mike Flanagan and Mark Hamill was very rewarding. It was fun to hear them talk about a project that had meant so much to each of them. And they talked about Stephen King, and Flanagan discussed having seen the story prior to its publication and reaching out to King about adapting it into a movie. Flanagan had previously adapted King's prose in Gerald's Game and in Doctor Sleep. And I loved hearing Mark Hamill talk about what this story meant to him. His performance as Chuck's grandfather is so immediate and so vulnerable that it conveys a huge amount of the tone that this movie achieves. I would love to see Hamill get supporting actor recognition for his work in this movie. I do want to tell you about the rest of my trip to the Alamo, but if you're enjoying this, please click that like button. And if you want more Drafthouse Diaries as they come out, click subscribe. The Alamo pre-show for this screening was exactly the same as the one that I saw the first time I saw The Life of Chuck, back in June. So it was very good. It got one in the mood for a Stephen King movie, especially a Stephen King movie of this type. And it had that very interesting commentary at the end, connecting so many dots between apparently separate Stephen King stories. For dinner, I once again got the chicken tenders with the orange gochujang sauce on the side. My darling wife was with me, and she also got the chicken tenders, but she got the really hot Reaper sauce on the side, along with some of the spicy honey thyme sauce. The honey thyme sauce was interesting, but it was far more sweet than spicy. I wouldn't say that it was as good as either the gochujang or the hot Reaper, but it's an interesting variety. As for the theater and the food service, this was my first experience of something new that the Alamo is rolling out: ordering at your seat prior to the movie using your mobile device. Each table at each seat has a QR code which, if you scan this with your phone, it brings up a page connected with your seat, and it presents you with the entire menu so you can order food and drinks and make any customizations that you want, and also submit information for your method of payment. You can continue to order this way up until the start of the movie, and after the Alamo Quiet Zone announcement, any refills or additional items are ordered through the usual written card system. I can't say that I'm crazy about this new system. I do like the idea of submitting your method of payment on your phone. I do like the idea that they don't have to come and drop off the check for you to sign at the end of the movie. You have about 20 minutes after the feature ends to review your bill on your phone and confirm the tip and close the account. If you forget to do this, after 20 minutes, they will add a 20% tip and close the account for you. But the ordering itself is a little awkward. The system is kind of finicky. It's not very easy to navigate back and forth among all the different menu sections. Also, this mobile order page simply would not load on my darling wife's phone. And it's an older phone. It doesn't have a lot of memory or storage, but it's not that old. And I just have a feeling that this mobile ordering page is very large and very memory intensive, and some phones may simply not be able to work with it. In addition, at our local Alamo at least, there's no cell phone service to speak of. So to use this system, you have to connect to the Alamo's Wi-Fi. And I wonder if at times the Wi-Fi just isn't up to handling so many people. And I do think that this might encourage some very un-Alamo behavior. Yes, they do tell you when to stop using the mobile ordering system and to go back to using the cards. And they do that by having Aziz Ansari yell at us from the screen, which I don't appreciate, given the fact that I wasn't crazy about using this system anyway. But I suspect that more than a few people are going to find this confusing and are going to try to keep using the mobile ordering system, bringing out their phones and turning on their screens, even while the movie is running. Maybe the happy medium would be to give us a way to enter our payment information on a mobile device when they check our tickets at the beginning, but to keep the ordering process itself consistent by staying with that written card system. Of course, it is a brand new system, so I'm sure that there are going to be some tweaks and changes, and both the staff and audience members are going to become more accustomed to it between now and the height of the holiday season. All that being said, the staff was very friendly. They were very patient and informative about this new system, and they did everything they could to make this a good visit to the movies. Thanks very much for joining me for this Drafthouse Diary. If you want to see my first impressions of The Life of Chuck from my initial viewing back in June, take a look at this video. I will be back soon with more, and in the meantime, enjoy your movies, and when you do, stay till the end of the credits.